What's good, y'all? It's Will Gittens. I'm sitting here with Duane. Had an amazing interview. Make sure y'all check it out. Tap in. Bruh, and it's like, don't take my kindness for weakness, yo. They're just,
And that's the thing with Gemini's, like y'all are so chill. Like I never really noticed how much Gemini's can actually flip until last year.
Really?
And I had a disagreement with one of my friends and a good collaborator. I won't say their name and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I was just like, wait, what? And he would not talk to me for months. I mean, it went from January, said something a little bit in January, a little bit in April, said a little bit in May, but it was like months. I was like, well, damn, fam. I'm like confused. Did I do something? I'm like trying to talk to you, trying to, get things done, trying to work, see how I can be a benefit to what you and your partner have going on. And I was just like, wow, so this is what they say.
Dang.
When it comes to Gemini.
Well, it's at least for me, if someone does something that's really hurtful and disrespectful, then I move that way. But in my older ages, I know that sometimes I could take certain things and misinterpret someone's intention. It even happens with my family members because my brother's an Aries and I'm a Gemini.
Right.
And even this morning, he literally was talking about something because we're talking about retirement plans and stuff for our business. Yeah. And he brought something up. And how he brought it up is like, I thought he was telling me that the one that I just signed up for was a piece of crap and he was just like, when we got down to it, he was just like, no, I was trying to say this, but in my mind, I'm like, why would you even bring up how you brought it up if
right.
But it's
and
once you get to
people, it's always about how you say things,
and
how you can get it.
And how when I was younger, I used to just take it for like what it was. And the older I got, I'm like, okay, and before I exert that type of energy, what are you actually trying to say? And if they still had ill intentions, then you could be like, okay,
right,
but
then you come from, because that's how I am as a Taurus. I'm like, oh, you open that for me to come for you after you said this in a crazy way. I'm coming for you. So growing up in Nashville, how was that for you coming to America you said at 8 years old, right?
Yeah, so of course you can imagine that's a huge culture shock for me. Coming fresh off the plane off Trinidad and to Nashville, and you hearing people like, I'm fixing to go downstairs, and like, I'm finna, and I was like, fixing and finna. I was like, what the
like, those aren't even full words.
I know, exactly. But I mean, they have their things where it's like, why do you guys speak like this? But it was really, I can't even explain to you. It was one of the most surreal moments of my life, like as moving from Trinidad, a place that's so tropical and so specific to
so
Nashville.
Yeah.
And it was so much bigger, and like the roads were wider and the houses were bigger, and wow, they have dishwashers and like, you know what I'm saying? And like a little small, not to say that we was like on some third world country stuff, but It's just like a lot of the things that even poor Americans have, people in Trinidad, is luxury if you have like a nice air conditioned system.
Right.
It's like when I was growing up in the 90s, everybody had fans and like other things, you know what I'm saying? And so moving to Nashville, it was a culture shock just because everyone, even people in America, has their stereotypes for Nashville of like hey, you from Nashville, Tennessee, like extra like hillbilly stuff.
Right.
But not every area is actually Nashville for the most is not hillbilly at all. It's just it has a lot of people that is like proud to be an American, but overall Nashville, I got to see the best and the worst of it, and I say from every race. I got to see the best of black people, the worst of black people. I got to see the best of white people and the worst of white people, racist and this and that. But there's also some white people that, had they not been in my and my family's life, it would have been harder for us to get by. So, it really kind of gave me a reality of that it's not necessarily race or anything. It's character. It taught me at a young age to judge character in people rather than like things, So
right. And I hear that a lot about when people move from different countries or even different states, just getting adapted to culture more than anything, and not really just people, but actual culture and society, and this is how this is here, and being able to adapt and stuff like that.
Facts.
So when you was it a challenge for your family to adapt at first, or did you guys kind of like get used to it?
It's like, honestly, Trinidadians, that's one thing that I admire about us. adapt to any environment, you know. And I would say it's more for black people in general,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, but in when we came there, it's like, of course, it was just like, wow, this is different. And like, shout out to my mother. Like, my mother came there, and we stayed with this family called the Johnsons, you know, and they're like my cousins now. And we stayed with them for 2 months. But as a kid, 2 months felt like a year. And so even though it was just 2 months, and then after that 2 months, my mom and my dad got a house, or rented a house in Madison, Tennessee. And so it was just like, it was that quick for them to like get on their feet, like stack up some money, establish a business. And it's like and
So they
as
were
being
like,
a 30-year-old, no, I'm like,
yeah.
dang, my parents were really like elite to do that. And
Right.
it was a lot of us, man. They did that with a family of 8 at the time.
I thought it was 8 at the time.
Yeah,
Oh
'cause
wow.
my sister, she's actually 20 now, but she was born in 2002.
Oh.
And we moved in America in 2000, so it was used to be 8, you know. But,
Wow.
yeah.
That's incredible. So was music like something that was like in the family blood and stuff like that, and it just kind of like trickled down to you, and then learning the guitar yourself?
Yeah, so I always pay like respects to my father, still in Gittens. He's an incredible singer, songwriter, musician. So everything that everyone sees me doing right now, like social media, I grew up seeing my dad do that in real time. You know, and my dad he's a genius. He's a brilliant, like, just musician and singer songwriter. And it's to just like show you how crazy that was, is that he didn't even teach my brother and I, like, physically sit us down and be like, hey, I'm going to teach you music, this and that.
Right.
He created the richest musical environment that was so rich that we literally just soaked it up. And then when it was time for us to just tap into music, when we realized that that's what we wanted to do, that it was just in there, you know. And it was just a testament of him just being in his prime and being so locked into music when we were kids, and us looking at him is like, man, this dude is really into this, you know. And even though, like, moving to America, my brother and I did a lot of sports, you know, and just did a lot of other activities outside of music. But once it came around early college time, we both, like, just came right back to the sources, which is the reason I think God put us on this earth, is to influence people through music, you know.
And you've been able to really do that. Like,
Yeah.
like I had told you, even when we had met at Tank's album release stuff, that I didn't even realize you were you, because I'm just the type of person where I'm just engaging. I tell people all the time, I don't care about what we got going on in the industry, so that we regular at the end of the day. And then a girl has said something to you, and it was like, are you, well, that's it. I turned, and I think you might remember, I was like, I said, I didn't even realize you were you, because just like the incredible things that you've done on socials, like you've got Twitter on lock, you've got Instagram on lock, TikTok, YouTube, with all the covers, and just doing everything that you can to, like, create and establish a brand for yourself. It's like, dude, it's incredible to say.
Man, thank you so much. And I would say this, like, a lot of times I don't even, you would think that more people would speak on it the way that you do, but I think probably because you're a creative yourself, that you understand what I actually have accomplished for myself. So I appreciate you appreciating me, because sometimes I meet people and they don't speak it in that same kind of language. It's like, oh yeah, good job, but it's like, no, you know how hard it is to amass that, especially being a person of color and a man of color, showing talent and just really being consistent. And I just, like, I don't come across a lot of people that say it in that way. So thank you for that.
Of course, yeah. And it's important that we give each other flowers and let each other know, like, hey, I see you, brother. I see you, sister. And it doesn't even matter if they're black or white or anything. They can just be of all walks of life. If we recognize what everybody is doing and we're honest in that, that's what's going to continue legacies and longevity and happiness. But if nobody is saying it, everybody is sad. They're in the corner. They're not working at their craft.
It doesn't take anything from you to give people their flowers, man. So much love.
And you got this incredible project that's out now. I mean, you got tons of EPs. But what I want to say is, you utilize the aspect of doing acoustic covers to really dive people into your artistry.
Yes.
And I feel like that is a lost art sometimes, but not all the times. The smart artists, such as yourself and creatives, that realize, hey, I got to take it back to where people were really honed in to these different platforms, just like we're saying. What was it for you that made you say, let's do these acoustic covers first and then sprinkle originals, EPs here, and then just kind of like being able to like balance it? Because you do a great job at balancing it all.
I really appreciate you, man, because like I have these conversations all the time, and it's just like, this is very refreshing. So I will answer it.
Of course.
But so yes, like for me, I'm a very strategic person, right? And when it comes to doing anything, I like to be successful at anything that I'm doing, just like really anybody. But for me, after going to music school and getting out of there, I actually went on The Voice, right? Because at the time, that was like, hey, if you go on that, it catapults your career. Then you get social media pops off, this and that. It didn't work out for me in that, right? I didn't make it onto the show. So I went back to Nashville to stay with my parents for a year. And I literally sat there and I was like, I have to do something. My little sister kept being like, shout out to Nikki. She was like, you should get on this app called Vine. Like, this is and that. It's going to do well for you. And for me, because I went to music school, I kind of had the whole ego of, man, that's a little 6-second app. Like, that can't showcase my talent. My talent is greater than 6 seconds, this and that. But then going on The Voice and it not happening sat me on my ass and made me be like, yo, I need to humble myself and utilize these things. And so just like how this phone is propped up right here, I literally used to sit there and put a phone there and sing. And I was just like, yo, I could literally access the world from this cellular device, and that right there, it was such a simple thing and which everyone has the access to, but it really was like, yo, if there's so many people on these apps, all I need to do is show them the talent that I know is really important to the world and just continue being consistent with that. And so I started to do those, and then it led to me, because I'm a multi-instrumentalist. I play bass, I play guitar, drums, like beatbox. I wanted to show everyone how talented I actually was. And it took trial and error for me. One time I remember it was Love Yourself by Justin Bieber. I did it just stripped down, just me and acoustic guitar.
I still love that damn song.
Yeah, it's a fire song.
It's
and so
incredible.
I did that acoustically, and boom, it was like 500,000 views. And it was a popular song, so I was like, maybe it's just because of the song. And I still ignored the fact that no, they just loved me singing and playing my acoustic guitar. So even 2 or 3 years after that, I kept wanting to, it was all about what I wanted to show people rather than what they wanted from me. And it just took, I think, around 2019 where I was like, wait a minute, because after I was like, let me test this out. And through trial and error, I realized that it doesn't matter what I do, I could do the most produced out thing. The thing that people are attracted to the most is my voice and a guitar. It has this kind of effect on people that is unlike anything other I've experienced. And so for me, I know that naturally how I interpret music is different than everyone else. So for instance, like My Boo by Usher and Alicia Keys, I know that how I approach it acoustically is going to be different. I know that how I'm going to sing it is different. And so I use my individuality to pay homage to those covers that give these people a nostalgic feeling. Because you remember what age you were when My Boo came out. You remember the feeling it gave you. Like, man, I love this song. Or I Want to Know by Joe. Like, I remember these songs as a kid and like how it made me feel. And so I'm like, let me just put my twist on these songs and like, to see what it does. And through me just trying stuff out, I realized and came up with a formula. And that formula has allowed me to build my own stuff. No, it is kind of frustrating sometimes when people, hey, sing, what's your favorite song of mine? Oh, I love your I Want to Know cover, It comes with that, because a lot of times people that discover you from the covers, they don't know to go check out your other original music and be like, wow, this guy's music is even better or just as good. Because they are so accustomed to being spoon-fed music through labels and other things. And for me, it's a risk that I'm willing to take to amass the type of success that I have. Because me just trying to put my original music out there, you have to either trick people to care or to just literally be so consistent that they just start caring.
Right.
And that was my technique and my strategy was to, hey, if you don't know who I am, I'm gonna sing a song that you know in a way that's super, you've never heard it before, and it's gonna make you become a fan of me, and then you're gonna be like, oops, I'm actually a fan of him now that I accidentally stumbled upon his music.
And that's a good trick to have, because then they're like, oh snap, I actually like the way he sings. I like the way that he put his own interpretation on it. And then when you even do your own acoustics of your own songs, it gravitates them because they're like, wait, what's that song? Or that, oh, that's your song?
Yeah.
And that's even what I've even been doing with my own artistry as well too, turning my songs into acoustics or doing piano versions because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all may not like this other stuff, but it's gonna be like, let me gravitate. And then with love songs, you just dropped the video for Falling For You.
Yeah.
Love that video. And you've been dropping videos like throughout, even like with even doing like your the vlog going to London and stuff like that. Actually, I want to ask you about that trip before even talking about the new video. How was that trip and just going out there performing and just working?
It was fantastic, man. Shout out to my homies AJ, B Sims, my baby sister Nikki, and my brother JR, of course. We went out there as there was a writers that working with my brother and I's company, JB Entertainment, and they write for us and with us in so many things, and we've had a lot of success together. So it was kind of like our company being like, hey, let's go overseas and let's use we connected with some people that we've known that had some situations set up. Our friend B Sims had a publishing partner group from his publishing company here, but the one of the offices is in London. So we set up sessions, and it's literally just the main reason is that I went out in 2017 to London, and I didn't even know how much of a fan base I had there. You know, and so at that time I only had 6 songs out, right? Yeah, and so I went and I did this show that I wasn't supposed to have because I was playing guitar for an artist named Gittens, right? And the show didn't end up happening, and then I set up a whole side show that technically I wasn't supposed to do. And then I was just like, man, I didn't even promote it really, and it sold out, and it was like 175 to like 200 people packed in this small room, and they were singing word for word my music, and it freaked me out, and it gave me so much inspiration that I went back to my brother, and I'm like, bro, they were singing this song word for word, and it was one of those things that that gave me such such purpose that I was like, I'll never give up on this.
Yeah.
Because even though like throughout then it's like people see the success of stuff, but I'm a very hard person on myself, and it's hard for me to congratulate myself for certain things. Yeah. And that's something that I've been working on, especially something that I want to do a lot this year is to really tell myself that I'm proud of myself, you know, and just appreciate the things that I do have rather than what I'm trying to aspire to get, you know. And so after going there in London, it just made me be like, yo, I have to go back. And so us going back and then turning that into a writer's camp where we wrote like about 12, 13 records. We collaborated with some other dope artists and other songwriters out there. And so just overall, it was just a very successful trip, you know, and setting up for the next time we go out there to really do even bigger things, you know?
Yeah. And you've been in a lot of different part of writing camps and just writing with different artists.
Yeah.
Tank is one.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that placement, because that record is still doing amazing. Were you surprised that it has gone the way? I'm tongue tied just even talking about the record like that, because Tank is a legend and he's a good friend of ours. But were you surprised just how far that record has gone, or did you kind of have like a feeling?
I once we finished the project, finished the song, and we were like, who you hearing this? I was like, this is Tank, and I'll say it in any interview. Tank is one of my biggest R&B influences on his approach to vocals, the harmonies. He's a genius with that, and I will forever look up to him in that way as just being one of the greatest R&B singers that the world has ever seen, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, and so just the fact that even they were supposed to they finished the album, and then when we sent the song, they were just like, oh, this is an exception, and then they made it the single, and then once they did that, I already knew what type of time it was on. You know, I knew that it was gonna be a number one on the R&B radio for a little bit. And I'm just glad that they ended up pushing it the way that I knew that they should. And yeah, you know, there's a lot of songs that's like that caliber that we've done, and I'm just glad that certain people like Tank and Chris Brown were able to take some of the music that I'm working with my group, because I know that you know how everything goes through waves in the industry, where Esther Dean was writing everybody's stuff, or The Dream was writing everybody's stuff, and then I guess now these times it's like either Nisha or Aunt Clemens or these other people, and it's like we the next wave, you know. And I'm saying that with all confidence, even if though in a lot of times getting in those circles unpublished is very uncommon. But I'm unpublished. I'm doing all of these things from building.
And how much work does it take to get into that?
It's honestly,
a lot of people don't understand. They be like, "Yeah, I'm a bulldozer." They be like, "You better slow down, him bulldoze."
I'm gonna be for real. Like, you gotta be bullheaded to do that. And unfortunate for other people, I'm a relentless freaking robot bull.
Right.
Like, I don't stop until I get what I know that I deserve and what I'm working for. And for the Chris album, we sent almost like 150 records. And none of that was just stuff we had before. It was mainly that we just kept cooking up like 2 songs a day when the pandemic started. So even though one of them made it, it still was like, yo, it was worth doing that type of work, because you had no connections to them. There was no politics. And so for you to get a song on a major artist without being published is very, very uncommon. Even for somebody like Chris Brown, shout outs to him, because he does give a lot of unpublished people opportunities to get songs with him, you know, but it still was like, it's really, really hard. And so I'm super grateful that with the slow song and then the dream song with Chris and some of the other things that we have in the pipeline, like, I'm just excited to see where everything goes.
And is that going to be on the writing side, or is that going to be producing on both?
Yeah, literally on everything. I have a lot of music that's coming out on just for me this year, because you got to think all these songs that I'm writing for other artists, they don't take everything. And some of it, I'm like, oh, please don't take this. I don't think you want that type of smoke, bro. Like, you better take this song, because I'm going to come up on the scene and you're going to wish you took this song.
Together,
And for me, it's just like, I'm not on that kind of like, oh, okay, you didn't take my stuff, I'm gonna show you.
Right.
No, I already know what I possess, you know. And even though I really think that, and when it's all said and done, I'm gonna be something that the industry hasn't seen before.
Definitely, you definitely are already.
Thank you, man.
Of course.
I think that I always pay homage to people that inspire me and that are doing things, have done things that I am doing, but I'm doing it a little different. Like someone like Neo, like being such a fantastic songwriter and art, you know, that's something that I take pride in. Is like, hey, my art that I write for
you need to go in the studio with next.
Yeah, I've tried to reach out to brother Neo. You know, it's one of those things where one thing that I stopped doing. I used to be really upset with certain things. This is books called 4 Agreements, and it says don't take anything personal.
Yeah.
And that's something in the industry that you have to abide by, because you would think that all of these OGs and these people that have had so much success as black R&B singers or just singer-songwriters, that they would embrace me and be like, hey, this is my young dude, like he's up next. Like it hasn't been that kind of way for me.
Right.
I don't know why I come across as a threat to some people, you know. And
true talent is a threat to people, and they don't know how to react, and they're like, oh, I see that this is about to be a problem. He's a problem. We're gonna keep the problem.
Yeah, but
there.
But the thing is, the problem could be an asset to your legacy.
Right.
You know,
They don't think that
and I
way.
say
It's
problem
so
like
crazy.
this.
Yeah, good problem.
For me, it's like, if you're fantastic, I'm not gonna be like, let me put a clove over there. I'm gonna be like, my guy, what's
like,
up?
let's
Like,
go.
you know what I'm saying? Let's
yeah.
work. I admire you, and I think you're amazing, and I want everyone to see you. Even if I have all this attention on me, I want people to see you. And so for me, anyone would tell you, a lot of these times, if someone shines the spotlight on me, I'm gonna be like, yo, but I wrote the song with 2 other friends, you know?
Right.
I'm not gonna be like, yeah, it's just me. I like to share the
Or
spotlight
humble.
because because that's something that's important to me. Like putting people that don't get credit and don't get praise. Like I want them to feel that way. You know what I'm saying?
Because there's so many people that do amazing things behind the scenes, and they
That
don't,
deserve
and
to
they
be
deserve at least a
recognized.
little bit of spotlight attention. Even though they be like, no, 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 I'm good. It's
Yeah.
like, don't do that. If you the dope engineer and you did your thing with this record,
Yeah.
let the people know.
Exactly.
Shout and make some noise. And I think that that's very important. Like we're talking about just throughout this whole conversation, just give credit where it's due. Because it's so important. And I love the fact that people have been doing that with you. So let's also talk about the Falling For You single and video. That single, that video, I love the texture. I'm very big on visuals that have texture.
Yeah.
Did you put together that treatment for that video yourself?
No, I did not. Shout out to my brother Javon Alvin and the whole Alvin agency. I love working with other creatives. I, as someone that takes a lot of pride into the musical side, I like to just give someone else their chance to be their expertise and do their expertise. And so Javon has been a good friend of mine for a minute, and he took the song, they came up with a treatment, and I was like, y'all do your thing. And when they showed it to me, I was like, you know what I'm saying? And so I can't even take credit. I didn't. None of those were my ideas, you know. And so I just let them do their thing, and I just showed up and did my best job acting, you know.
You did your thing on that. And I just love watching videos that have a message. I'm big about message through all tellings of life.
You want to hear something that's this is the first time I'm saying this in an interview, but about how Falling For You came about. So that song was done in 2018. Like that song was 4 years old at the time, and I remember when I first did it. At the time, I was in Atlanta, and it was so against where R&B was going that I automatically was like, yeah, it's just cool, it's like cute, but it's like, you know, everybody was doing different stuff in the industry, so I was like, I can't pitch it to nobody, and it's for me, I don't know, it doesn't sound that good. And every time we played it for other people, we would play people 50 songs and then play Falling For You, and they're like, yo, this is the best thing that you've played. And I was like, how are they hearing something I'm not hearing? And just for a funny story, when I started to come out to LA, I started to take a little microdose of like edibles and stuff like that. And the funny story is the reason why Falling For You is out is because I got high. I got high on an edible, and I listened to that song, and I was paralyzed by how beautiful it sounded to me.
Wow.
And I was like, this is me? I was literally
So you were really feeling.
I
in
literally
that moment,
felt what everyone was feeling,
feeling.
and for some reason, it did not ever sound like that to me.
Wow.
And so when I heard that in that space, I sat there and I was literally like, the back of my neck was like tightening up, and I was like, I can't even take this. This is so beautiful. And I was like, yo, right after that, I was like, yo, we need to mix and master this and put this song out. And really, that's what happened, and it's been doing really, really great. And the music videos took the song to a whole nother level. And as an independent, you know, doing music videos and songs in general, it's costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, and then to just put a YouTube market ad campaign and other things, because you put up music and stuff, and the market it wants you to do covers and other people's stuff. But when you put your originals out, it doesn't really give you any love. So you kind of have to compensate that with the marketing and stuff like that. And so, you know, I'm still very, very independent, but I'm looking for PR help and other things. You know what I'm saying? So like real talk, anybody that's willing to have any ideas, like I did with the video. Like I know that I'm great at what I could do, and I respect people in their expertise, and I'm definitely open and willing to grow my business through having just help and building more established team.
Yeah, and I think that that's most important, especially when you have a great thing that God has given you, give multiple gifts, because that's what He gives us. And when you realize, hey, you know what, I can sharpen this talent that I have, and actually grow and have a team and stuff like that, and be open to growth and what it could be. It's endless possibilities of what it could look like. Because you like, I'm not just saying that because we're sitting here, it's like that, but you have that your next talent. Like I mean, like you in the class with the rest of them, with Tone, with Eric, with Vito, with Tank, with Anthony, with listen with all of them, because it's just like when you believe in yourself and you're doing something right, you don't need 20 people, you don't need 30 people telling you. And I was just talking to a friend about this. So you don't need a whole bunch of people saying that industry wise.
Yeah.
But if the people respond and the numbers don't lie, they never will.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go.
Yeah, no, it's like I'm in a position nowhere, because a lot of times you could imagine how many hundreds of people are like, how are you not signed? How are this and that? And that used to affect me, because I used to want to answer all of them and be like, Psh, you telling me like industry is this and that. But now I'm just like, my time is gonna be my time. Just making sure that I'm ready for it mentally and spiritually and everything else. And even when I thought that I was ready for the type of limelight and success that I wanted, I felt like God was showing me certain things that I needed to develop with myself, like being mentally strong for that next thing. Because people don't think about that. Once you get that, your life changes. You can't just walk around no more. You have to deal with different energies and different people. And unless you're foundationally grounded in yourself, that stuff could really alter your whole,
Right. And even that takes time too, like to have your foundation solid, because you're supposed to be constantly perfecting at it. You can be on solid ground and you can be good, but if you're not perfecting at it, it's just like, what are we really doing?
Facts.
So no, that's good that you're constantly working at it, not even just as an artist, but as a man, and just realizing, hey, these are the things that I need to do to get to the next, and doing that gets you ready for what's to come.
That's facts.
And are you doing any shows this year? Because I'm pretty sure that is a question that everybody wants to know and has been asked.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to set up some in LA this year. Last year I only did, I think, one official show. I will do more performing. Hopefully, I'll establish like a booking company to allow me to do my first tour.
Yeah.
Because I have enough fan base in every like major city to at least go and do like between a 250 to 500 capacity. And that's just through watching my analytics. And there's so many people in these bigger cities like New York and Atlanta that I haven't performed there. I've been performing in Atlanta in a minute. I don't think I ever performed in New York. And New York is a huge fan base for me. So
SOBs.
that's actually what's funny is somebody hit me up to do something at SOBs, but they were offering me something that it wasn't going to be worth it for me.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to set up some shows. So it's one of those things where I think that is the hardest thing for me, is doing as much as I do on the creative side and then the business side for growing that business, is that a lot of times people think that because you're so popular that you should just be doing shows. It's the same like when people are like, yo, you should do more music videos. It's like, are you going to fund this $5,000 video, my good brother? And so it's one of those things where it's easier said than done. And a lot of people think that because you have so much people love you that it's going to be easy for you to go on a tour. But it's like that tour is going to cost $50,000 on the low end. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have to have people on a team that believes in you and that invests in you. And I think that that's something that will happen this year. I'm someone that, even though I've had a lot of blessings and stuff, on the other end of it, sometimes instead of people embracing me, they kind of look at me as, oh yeah, he got it. And sometimes it's like, is it because I work on my stuff and my stuff is so elite that they're like, oh, he's a signed artist, he doesn't need help or this and that. It's like,
and that's
I do need support, Yeah.
People have. Even when you're signed and stuff like that, they're like, oh, you don't need any help. Or when you're independent, like you are, and even myself on the artistry side, they'll be like, oh no, it's fine. No, it's not fine. I can use that $50,000 deal or $100,000 to do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
That would take a load off.
And as for me, it's like what I want to do is when I get to the success that I want to do, I want to pour in to younger black creators that I see myself in. So if I go online and I see this young black brother playing guitar and singing and has the same passion that I saw, I don't even care what the situation is. I'm gonna hit them up and be like, yo, what do you need right now? And it's not gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna give you this. I want to be an angel investor when I get to that part. And I think that right there is hopefully I could create a culture in changing the situation that is at hand right now. There's a lot of people that are people that I look up to, and instead of them being angel investors or not even angel investors, just being like, hey man, let me take you under my wing and let me associate myself with you.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying?
So I like to call partnership.
Yeah, and so, but unfortunately, none of them have done that, you know, and it's gonna be weird because I know where I'm going, you know, as long as I'm alive and healthy, God's gonna elevate me to places that you know what I'm saying, that I'm working.
You a May Gemini or June Gemini?
I'm a June.
Oh, okay.
So for me, it's just like I'm on some friendly stuff, but it's like I know that at some point you're gonna have to associate with me. Right. It doesn't even matter if you're the great this or the great that. Mm-hmm. I'm the great Will. Right. You know, and it's
gonna come back around.
And it's one of those things where it's like I watched. You ever watch the Kanye documentary?
I haven't watched it, but people tell me about it.
I think like, of course, in the later end of the series, you see his current self, and you're gonna detach yourself more on his where he's at currently. Right. But seeing where he began, the reason why I love that is because it made me not crazy for feeling a lot of the things that I was feeling. Like you see him in certain places where he's there, and people are like treating him like he's just like, yeah, you just a producer, or you're just this. He's always been Kanye West, and in his mind, he already knew where he was going, right? Whether or not you wanted to associate with him or not. And so with that same kind of energy, it's just like, oh, you okay?
You like, you ain't ready to step into
and
it's like,
not,
okay,
and
cool.
It's not one of those things where I'm gonna come back and be like, you didn't this and that. No, right. You're gonna have to feel the repercussions of, wow, and this person came to me with respect. Like most of these people that I look up to, you'll see that I sent them a DM, was like, man, I admire you, like, you know what I'm saying, this and that. And it wasn't even no, hey, let's work. It was just like, just giving them flowers and just wanting to, you know what I'm saying, build that type of relationship. But I think that narrative needs to change, and especially our Black community, because it's like, unfortunately, the OGs are still trying to stay on top, and instead of them cultivating and bringing up the younger people, it's just like it's political.
And embracing needs to be done a lot, because there's a lot of room for everybody. Even if it's not the space of R&B, and I tell people all the time, like, your lane is your lane. What's going to be for you is going to be for you. Don't try to grab at everything and try to take every opportunity, because it's not going to be for you.
And that's the thing. Honestly speaking, like, I know that I'm in the conversations with R&B, but there's a lot of artists that independent that I am like, yo, this person's like real R&B, like Kenyon Dixon, you know? Yeah. He's a R&B head, and like, even though I love R&B, it's like he's one of those pinnacle R&B guys that is just strictly R&B. For me, what's gonna be different with me is that I am culturally, that's why I say I know I'm gonna have an impact on the industry in a way that they've never seen, because I could dabble in the R&B, the acoustic pop, the Afro island, like the island type vibes and the Afro beats.
You bring diversity,
man. And I'm talking about that's why I'm excited about this year, because it's really gonna show people like who I really am. And I don't get back to, like, a lot of times labels are like, yo, it's smarter for you to just stay in your lane or to do this and this. I got 8 lanes, man. I'm a Texas freaking interstate. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I'm going to literally dive into each one of those bags. Like, you know, I literally did a song, Fumes, which is an EDM.
I love Fumes.
Oh, appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
And so
that's my vibe.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
do you
like, I love like pop EDM music. Like, I'm an R&B head and stuff like that, but it's like.
But it's kind of like R&B elements in it. That's what's crazy. And so for me, even though like I love other things, you will always see different styles in like things like EDM, and it's like I just like great music. So when I collabed with the producer John Samuels, we were doing it for like a sync, and it actually got into what you call it, Love Island,
Oh
sync.
yeah.
And
Sure.
when it got in there, we were like, yo, which would be smart for us to drop the song, you know? And you know, I know one of those songs is just like it takes the right kind of being in the same something commercial and it blows the song up. But for me, that just kind of shows the diversity that I possess. You know, it's like no one could put me in a box, and that's kind of why I'm still independent at this time. It's like you're not gonna put a box or a label on me, and I take pride in that. And so if there's a label that wants me to just like allow me to do what I'm gonna do and just be one of the most versatile artists that the world has ever seen, then holla at me. But other than that, then just leave me alone. That's why a lot of people they do straight R&B, you know, and I respect that. But for me, you can't tell me what my R&B or my music is supposed to sound like. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. I spent 10 years in Nashville, Tennessee. I went to Berklee School of Music, 4 years in Boston, Massachusetts. I went to Atlanta for 4 years, and then now I'm in Los Angeles.
All cities with
How are you
dope
supposed to
music.
tell me what I literally am just like this person that's just like been to so many different spots, and so it's just like my music is gonna be eclectic, just like how my life has been, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's unique that you said that like collectively like in these different cities that you can literally gravitate and vibe off of music. Where has been like what top two cities, if you could say, are like your favorite to create?
Um, I think my favorite has been LA to create, and I don't know. I feel like because I was in the music school and I was around so much different music, Boston was a good place for me. But that was really the beginning.
Boston is low key slept on music wise.
Yo, it is. The music scene isn't really that good. That's why it slept on. But there is a lot of talent and a lot of. If you get around certain like parts of the city, especially around the school, you'll find a lot of talent. That's because it's one of the best music schools in the world, you know. And so there's so much diversity and so much inspiration. And really, it's like I thought I knew R&B. I thought I knew music, but it's like when somebody plays you something, like you ever heard of this group here? You know what I'm saying? You're like, whoa. You ever heard of Snarky Puppy? You ever heard of Little Dragon? You ever heard of Coyote? Or like you ever heard of Bon Iver or James Blake? And you're just like, as someone that grew up, you hearing all these things, and then you get around guitars. Like, you ever heard of Yngwie Malmsteen? You ever heard of Steve Vai or Joe Satriani? And like for me, I'm like a music nerd, you know.
Right.
And so when people were showing me these people, I went and I researched them, and that's why my music sounds so different. My approach has been a combination of what I've soaked up and regurgitated, you know.
So we like to ask all of our friends on the show what exemplifies them as like the true individual that they are. So when you think about yourself as a man entrepreneur, because you're also an entrepreneur, you got your label. Definitely want to say that again.
For sure.
If they didn't catch you, say that. And an artist, what would you say exemplifies you?
Like in a word or just like
Just overall, what exemplifies Will?
I'd say the first thing is excellence. Like I take a lot of pride in quality, and so anything that I do, like man, you could hit me in the face if you ever see me put out a video that isn't the best quality that you.
It's the same with the girl hit you.
Oh, yo, that's funny, bro. That's funny. Yo, I bet you was waiting to bring that up. Yeah, that's funny. No,
You, Heather.
yeah, I know Heather, man. Come on, but yeah, I want anything that to be associated with me to be excellence. And the other thing that I want when they think of Will Gittens is humanity. Like I am someone that I feel like no matter where I go and how much I grow, I'm an approachable individual, you know. And of course, I'm not gonna seem approachable to most people.
Right.
But you was like, hey man, what's up, man? I love your stuff. Like, nice to meet you. And you know, unless I would not recollect, anytime someone comes to me and I have a human experience with them, I want to be remembered as, wow, this guy is a really respectable dude.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like he put himself on a pedestal. He looked down at me. It's just I want to be in whatever walk of life I am, that I give people human decency. And a lot of times in the industry, people don't do that. It's a lot of egos. It's a lot of And people are like, don't change. Of course, I don't want to be the same person I am now, but I want the core foundation of Will to be that same loving, like goofy human that I am now, and to always be like that. And I think that that's what I want, to just continue to be my most authentic self.
Wow, incredible. So where can everybody follow you in case they're not already following you? Which I would be so mad from the bottom of my heart if they're watching us and they don't follow you. But there's always
You never know, and that's why it's good. Like your fan base and your circle, a lot of them have not heard of me, and vice versa.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, if you guys want to follow me, my on Instagram is at Will Gittens, Gittens. It's like kittens but with a G. So Will Gittens, and at Will Gittens on everything. Nice TikTok, Twitter, Facebook fan page, anything. If you want to find me on Spotify, Apple Music, Will Gittens, and yeah, I know I do a lot of talking, but I feel like my music could back it up.